friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Marielle and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sharing practical ways to organize and plan your day as a working mom so you can feel more in control, less overwhelmed, and actually get things done without burning out. Whether you're working from home, going to the office, or juggling a little bit of both, I've got you. I've been there, and these tips have truly helped me to stay sane and productive. So, grab your beverage of choice and let's jump in. Before we get into the very practical aspect of this video, I want to talk about first your mindset, and specifically shifting your mindset about productivity. So the first point is to let go of perfection and focus on progress instead. I know it's so much easier said than done because I myself am a perfectionist, and it's always a little bit of a battle between me and myself ongoing about things being perfect or things being done. And when you're a mom and you're also working and you're trying to juggle all of these things, and you have all of these things for yourself, for your family, for your kids, and all the general things, there's just a lot of things going on in there, and it's definitely difficult to get everything done while also getting everything done perfectly. And so there are really definitely times when you need to kind of just get things done for the sake of them being done. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect every time. Want to exercise every day, and ideally would be exercising an hour every day or an hour 3 times a week. It's just not realistic sometimes, and you have to settle for just progressing with 10 to 15 minutes of exercise every day or 3 times a week, and that's so much better than not getting any exercise at all. Second point I want to make is that productivity looks very different as a working mom, and that's okay. Productivity now in my 30s as a mom is so different from productivity when I was in my teens or in my 20s, because there's so much more things that I need to manage these days. There's so much more people involved in the decision-making process that I need to make. There's so much more at stake. There's a lot of different elements that I need to consider now. It's not just me anymore that I need to take care of and worry about. It's a whole family that I need to take care of. And it's not always easy when there are other people involved. It's so much easier when it's just myself, right? When you're a working mom, you're trying to do so many different things. You're pulled in so many different directions, and it's not always that straightforward to do things and to get things done all the time, and that's completely fine. When you're used to getting things done a certain way, when you're used to being productive and being perfectionistic with the things that you're doing, when you're in your 20s, when you're not a mom yet, it's going to look very different now that you're older and that you have children to take care of, a family to take care of. It's no longer realistic for you to expect the same thing of yourself that you had before now, because it's just not going to work, and you're just going to frustrate yourself. And I've been there, and I've tried so hard to try to live up to the expectations that I have set for myself here, and I most of the time fall short because it's just not the same anymore as it was before. I don't have as much time as I used to have. I don't have as much energy as I used to have. And it's completely fine that it looks a little bit different now than it did before. And with that, I also wanted to point out that this season of life is going to be very different from your season of life 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Because things evolve and things change all the time, and now where we are at now is also going to be different 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And it could be that at this moment your productive looks like at this level. That's as much productivity as you can give. But then 5 years from now, maybe you're gonna be here again, and then maybe 10 years you're gonna be here, and maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago you were here, and now that you have little kids, you're just at the bottommost of the ladder, and that's completely fine. I have definitely struggled to accept the fact that sometimes I just need to let things go, but I'm very much realizing the past few years, the past few months even, that the more that I accept that this is the season of life that I am at, and the more that I just let myself sink into the moment, the happier I am and the happier my kids are, because when their mom is happy, then they're also happy. Our kids don't really care if their house is spotless 100% of the time every day. What they do care about is being with their mom and being with their parents and having a nice time with their parents. And so that's also the way that I've prioritized how I do things. And admittedly, our house can be a disaster sometimes, and that's just really not my priority at the moment. And it does bother me sometimes that my house is a bit chaotic, not gonna lie, but I do still prioritize time with my kids over tidying my house. And okay, my house is chaotic most of the time, but my kids are the happiest that they can be, and that I can be very proud of. So now let's talk about planning. Planning your days the night before is so key for a lot of different things. It can be for traveling, it can be for just every day, just planning it the night before or even a few days before for much bigger occasions and things is just one of the most important things that you can do for yourself and the easiest hack there is for productivity as a mom. Evening prep can really set the tone for tomorrow, because when you wake up in the morning, a lot of us are very groggy from sleep. A lot of us are just a little bit more sluggish and slow. But in the evening we have, even if we have our batteries very low, it's still so much easier to get things prepared for the next day than in the morning when you're trying to scramble to get everything done yourself, your kids, and then suddenly some unforeseen things happen and you maybe slept through your alarm or your kid wakes up earlier than expected, and then suddenly everything is thrown off first thing in the morning. So it's so much easier to plan as much as possible the night before, and this is something that I've done almost every day, or I try to do almost every day. That really helps me to make it easier for myself when I wake up in the morning. So what are some simple things that you can do the night before? One is to look at your calendar. This is something that I do to just check if I have any appointments that I need to remember any meetings that I need to prepare beforehand. This is especially important. Like sometimes you need to just list down some bullet points of, depending on who you're talking to, if you have a meeting with somebody. Look at your calendar for what your kids need for school, or what they need to bring and things like that, because when you have kids, there are some things that they each need, depending on how many kids you even have. They could each need something, or they each have an event, a different kind of event for school. Suddenly you need to bring muffins to school or whatever. It's just so important that you're looking at your schedule a week in advance, at the very least the day before, to make sure that you're not missing out on anything. If you can do this, it's also nice to write down your top 3 priorities for the next day, so you know where to focus on, what are the things that you really need to get done. And I also like for myself to do like a brain dump of to-dos of what I need to get done tomorrow or the next days. And so it's out of my head and I'm not constantly thinking about it when I'm supposed to be asleep. The next one is preparing meals, preparing snacks, preparing clothes, preparing bags, all the things that need to be prepped. So diaper bag, kids' clothes, or things for school, your things for work, your things for the next day, your meals. I love meal prepping, especially meal prepping our breakfasts when we have an especially busy day the next day. It really helps us to just grab the thing and then immediately eat it, instead of like having to figure out what am I gonna eat, what do we have, and blah blah blah. You know, it's literally 5 minutes to prepare the night before, and I save myself 10 minutes for the next day. The next is to set realistic expectations. And I know it's so easy to just put like 10, 20 things in your to-do list, because that's how it feels like in your head sometimes. But if you put too many things in your to-do list for one day, it's going to feel so frustrating that you're not able to do half of that, because it's just not doable. It's just too much. And so it's so much better to list down all the things that you would like to get done for the week and then divide it between the different days and make sure that it's realistic for the time that you actually really have. Next, I wanted to talk about a good morning routine. Now, if you've been in my channel for some time, you know that I love routines, and specifically morning routines is something that I'm just obsessed with. Ever since it came out years ago, I really jumped on that bandwagon and I really still enjoy it until now. Now, my morning routine is so much different from my morning routine 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because obviously my season of life is different from what it was before. But I still have my own morning routine right now, and that's what works for me and my family at the moment. And I'm sure next year, 2 years from now, it's going to be different again. And it's something that's kind of like a living thing that grows with you and changes and evolves over time. What's most important to having a good morning routine is that to keep it as simple as possible and not to complicate it, because that's how you're going to be able to keep consistent at it. So just make sure that it's practical for the things that you do need and have time for and have energy for. And it's something that you can see yourself being consistent with. One of the things that have really changed the game for me in terms of productivity is learning how to time block and batch things that I need to do. So what is batching? Batching is when you take a couple of different tasks that are quite similar and do them all in one block. So let's say you want to do some computer work, you want to answer to some emails, you want to research some things, and those are quite similar tasks compared to, for instance, meal prepping or vacuuming the floors or things like that. So you want to group the similar things together because the parts of your brain that are working are quite similar with those tasks. So the amount of energy that you need to switch between different tasks is very minimal compared to if you, for instance, do some emails in the morning and then right after that you want to do some meal prepping, and then right after that you want to do I don't know, jogging. Task switching takes a little bit more energy from you because the tasks are very different. So blocking times when you can do similar things is really great, so you can all do them all at the same time and then have a little break in between and then switch to a different kind of task. Time blocking is just how it sounds. Time blocking is blocking time for the specific activities that you want to get done during the day. So for instance, I want to film this video now. I block an hour and a half for filming the video and making sure that I have everything set up how I want it. I block another hour this morning to get my exercises done and to do some journaling. So time blocking is, for instance, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. I'm doing my whole morning routine. Then during that time, I do my quiet time, I exercise for a little bit, I get myself ready and dressed and everything. And then from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I'm getting the kids ready, waking them up, changing diapers, brushing teeth and all that. And then from 8 until 9, then we get ready, we go to school, blah blah. Blocking your time so that you know what you're going to do when. And it's so great for somebody who's very structured because you know what to expect and you also know how much time you have for something. And it helps to be able to plan your day accordingly when you do this. I love customizing my schedule when time permits around my energy levels. So let's say I am very sleepy, particularly after lunch. I get a really bad dip after lunch because I feel like I can take a siesta. And so I like doing more active things after lunch so that I don't fall asleep. For instance, having my Zoom calls after lunch is great. Having a brisk walk of 10-15 minutes after lunch is also great for me because then I can get out and have some fresh air and just refresh my brain a little bit. The mornings I find are very good for me when I need to focus on certain tasks that require a lot of concentration. So my biggest projects and the things that I really need to think about very much, that I really need a lot of focus on, or the most important things, I try to get done first thing in the morning because I know I have the energy for it then. Another very important thing when you're a working mom is to learn how to prioritize what actually matters. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of things that we like to get done. We have a lot of things in our to-do list, but it's so important to prioritize so that you know exactly what needs to be done when, and you can utilize your time as effectively as possible. So for instance, I have a top 3 things that I would really like to get done every single day. And if these 3 things are done, then I'm all good for the day, and the rest is kind of just like an additional thing that is also nice to have. But as long as these 3 things are done for the day, then I'm okay. Next is being able to learn how to differentiate between urgent and important tasks. So I don't know if you know about that Eisenhower matrix, but it has urgent and important, urgent but not important, important but not urgent, and not urgent and not important. So classifying your different tasks between those 4 boxes will really help you to see which ones need to take priority as well. Next is to make sure that you build in some buffers in work life, but also in your private life as well. So make sure that you have buffers in between for breaks, for unforeseen things between your tasks, so between your time blocks. It really has helped me so many times when things come up out of the blue that suddenly need to be done because something just came up, or because maybe you oversaw something. And it's always good to have a little bit of block in between things that need to suddenly be done. This can also include transition time. So if you're going to transition from one block to another, it takes a little bit of shift in your brain to be able to, it's not like you're doing one thing and then suddenly, oh, okay, I'm gonna do another thing. You know, it's so much easier said than done, but practically speaking, you always need a little bit of a transition time in between tasks, and also to rest a little bit in between, because otherwise it's just not feasible, it's just not manageable. It's also great to have some buffer times when you know that you're more tired, or there's some things that are coming up that are going to need more energy. So for instance, you have a big project coming up and you really need to put all your effort into this project. For instance, on Monday and on Tuesday is going to be really busy and you really need to grind. And then you know that, okay, Monday and Tuesday I need to do that and I really need to get my stuff together. But then the rest of the week I can take it a little bit easier. I have a little bit less on my plate, I can take it a little bit slower. So it's nice to have a little bit of balance in between, and also something for yourself to look forward to. The next is to make use of tools and systems that really help. So for instance, for me, I love having a planner. I have a physical planner, but I also have a digital calendar that I both look at. I also have a family calendar that I share together with my husband, and we also both look at that so that we know all of the things that are coming up for events, for all the things that we need to make sure that we're on top of, and it really helps us to stay in sync with each other. For my own to-do list in my planner, I have a running to-do list digitally, but then I have like a paper physical planner. I actually have it here for the things that I need to get done every day, and I love having something to tick off. I love really manually writing the stuff in my planner and checking them off, so it really helps me to stay motivated as well when I see that I have things to do on my planner. So a to-do list also helps. So for instance, I use Notion specifically for my videos, for my YouTube videos. So I have all of the notes that I have for my videos, my scripts, and all of that, and all the upcoming videos and the videos from before. I have just a running list of that, and everything is in one place. It's really great. You can also use that for work as well, to be able to keep all of your things in one place. I also use that for my work as well. I know that a lot of people also use meal planning printables, meal planning digital planners as well. So you can totally do that. I just do mine actually very manually, but I always have a running list of our groceries and of the recipes that I want to make for the next week, so that I have everything in one place. But it's a physical notebook that I use for that. There are so many tools that you can download, that you can use for free, that will help you make your life so much easier, and those are some of the ones that I use every single day. You can also use Google Calendar and your Apple Calendar as well. That's what I use with my husband, and it really does make things work a little bit more smoothly. Now for some little productivity hacks that I've been using myself that I would recommend to anyone. First is to use timers when you're feeling very sluggish and you really don't want to do something. I've had days when I just am like really go and there's just no stopping me. I'm just on top of these things. And then there are days when it's the opposite and I'm just like, I don't even want to think about doing anything. I just want to lie down. And it's really helpful to have this timer. So for instance, how much time do you need to, I don't know, clean your kitchen or clean out your living room? For me, it really helps when cleaning because that's just one of the things that are lowest on my priority list, but I know that I need to do it and upkeep the tidiness of our home. And so I usually do this for cleaning. I set a 30-minute, 15-minute timer for myself to get as much cleaning as possible, as much tidying as possible, and then I just get to work. So it's really good to be able to motivate yourself because you know it's only 15 minutes, only 30 minutes, and then once the timer goes off, I can stop and I can do something else. Usually the most difficult part is just to start, and sometimes you even see with yourself that after the timer goes off, you still want to continue doing the thing or cleaning or whatever the task might be. So it's really good to even just get yourself starting and get yourself moving. I love, like I said, meal prepping and preparing food and lunches and stuff in bulk because it's so easy for me during the week that I can just grab and go things instead of having to think about what I need to do or what I need to eat later, or that I still need to prepare dinner while I have kids that are like just running around and asking for my attention at the same time. It's just so stressful sometimes when you have that. And so it's so handy to be able to just grab something, heat it up, and then everybody can just enjoy their meal with very little effort in your part. Automating and delegating as much as possible is really great. Everything that you can automate, just automate them. I have a lot of different things that I automate for myself. We have things like smart lamps, and I have things like automatic emails for different kinds of things. I have automatic payments for different kinds of things. I also delegate things around the house with my husband. I delegate things with my colleagues when I can as well. And so it just makes things go a little bit smoother and go a little bit faster when you do so. So remember that it's not about trying to do everything and running around like a headless chicken. It's about doing the things that actually matters and doing the things that actually move the needle forward. Those are the things that you really need to focus on. Those are the things that will really help us progress. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Being a working mom means that your time and energy are always pulled around in so many hundred different kinds of directions. But with the right systems, a little intention, and a whole lot of grace, you really can create a routine that works for you. I hope that these tips have made you feel more empowered and a little bit less overwhelmed. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe, and share this with your other mom friends who could use some structure in their day. And tell me in the comments, what helps you to stay grounded and structured as a working mom? I'd love to hear from you. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!